Good morning. Welcome to, or good evening rather. Welcome to Tuesday, excuse me, Tuesday video feed, the new Tuesday video feed of the missing live stream. We're going to discuss what basically we're going to discuss in a live broadcast on Thursday at 7 o'clock. But we get into a little detail here and let you kind of get an idea of what we're going to talk about. And we might even discuss some details here that we don't discuss in the live. It's actually totally different in a way, but the same in other ways. I want to welcome you. If you're not a subscriber, we ask that you would subscribe and give us a thumbs up. It really helps the channel and it doesn't cost you a dime. In case some of you don't know, I'm a retired police officer with over 33 years experience. I worked in various positions with a large department. I worked homicide and robbery task force and rape task force and mostly narcotics vice and all kinds of subversive organizations undercover for about 3 years up there when I was younger. Later on, I transferred, basically rehired with another department in South Alabama where I worked General Patrol, and I did work investigation for a short period of time, but I worked the majority of that in narcotics, over, I think, 15 years in narcotics. And I went to law school for a while. Thought I wanted to be a lawyer, but I decided that I really missed police work, and I went back into that. Okay, what we're going to discuss today, I've just given you a little history of why I feel like I'm not an expert in any case, but I do have a lot of knowledge. Got me a little cup of coffee here, and in a Winnie the Pooh. I think it's a Winnie the Pooh. Yeah, Winnie the Pooh cup. That's fitting. Okay. Well, we're going to talk about we've been in Mexico last week. We covered the 3 missing women down there in Mexico. Really, they were Mexican nationalists. They were citizens of Mexico living in the United States. So I'm sure that the Mexican government's going to have to be the one that gets into that. Staying in Mexico this week, we wanted to research and talk about what Mexico feels like is the highway of death. It's called the highway of death. And it's because a lot of people have ended up murdered on this highway or missing. Primarily the missing is what we are concerned about. The investigators have their hands full with the other. It says disappearances rise on Mexico's highway of death to the border. And one reason why we care is, one, we cover the whole world, missing people throughout the world. However, we care about human life no matter where it's at. And this highway is traveled by a lot of Americans also. They cross the border and they go into Mexico for various reasons. Apart from this, I'm gonna stop that. Apart from this, they just discovered another, I'm sure they have a lot of people missing. They don't put on the news, but there's they had a woman that lived in the central Mexico was kidnapped out of her house, which was kind of odd, but they showed this girl being kidnapped. So I don't know, but a lot of stuff's happening in Mexico. The president I covered last week, I said the president of Mexico in an article, and I showed it where he said Mexico is safer than the U.S. I doubt that. This one point proves that is, do you see armed Jeeps with 50 caliber machine guns riding around your streets on every American city on the interstate? No, that's what you see in Mexico. Okay, we'll get into this here. About this highway. It said Mexico City, as many as 50 people are missing after setting out on a 3-hour car trips. This was between Mexico's industrial hub of Monterrey and the border city of I guess that's Nuevo Laredo. You'll hear me, and if you're new, you'll know right now I'm a Southern boy. I have tough time pronouncing some of these cities, and others, even American cities, some of them. On a well-traveled stretch of road, the local media has dubbed the highway of death. Relatives say family members simply vanished. The disappearance and the last week's shooting of 15 apparently innocent bystanders in Reynosa suggesting Mexico is returning to the dark days of 2006 2012 drug war when cartel gunmen often target the general public as well as one another. See, that's one where you're not going to see me in Mexico. I'm telling you, not unless it's off a cruise ship, and I doubt then too. It's no longer between the cartels; they are attacking the public, and said activist Alengio Orzoco. As many as half a dozen of those who disappear on this highway are believed to be U.S. citizens. See, that's another thing too. We're talking about U.S. citizens across the border. Let me get a sip here. Uh, through the U.S. Embassy could not confirm that status. One, Jose Diaz Gomez from Irving, Texas, reportedly disappeared on the highway June 3rd. On Saturday, the FBI office in San Antonio, Texas, issued a bulletin seeking information on the disappearance of Laredo, Texas woman Gladys Sanchez and her 16-year-old son and 9-year-old daughter, who have last seen sitting out on the highway on June 13th. They had visited relatives, and I can't say that, and might as well not say it, in a town on the highway, and were returning to Texas when they vanished. See, I'm telling you, folks. I know a lot of you, a lot of we're full time RVers, and a lot of RVers travel down to Mexico. A lot of them do on that little the Baja, which it's all in Mexico, and they vanish or whatever, and a lot of you can't do nothing about it. You know, I don't trust the cartels and their little apologies and stuff, but it's basically a third world country. Okay. Let's see. You're seeking information. Okay, we got that. Most of the victims are believed to have disappeared approaching or leaving a cartel dominated city of Nuevo Lardo, across the border from Lardo, Texas. About a half dozen men have reappeared alive, badly beaten, and all they will say is the armed men forced them to stop on the highway and took their vehicles. Man, I'm just telling you, there's no reason for people in America that don't want to do. Even Mexican citizens are getting this way. What happened to the rest remains a mystery. So that's the ones that my luck, I'd be kidnapped down there and find out I used to be a cop, a retired cop, and that's all. That you never see me again. Monterey is located. Desperate for answers, relatives of missings took to the street in Monterey Tuesday to protest, demanding answers. Well, that's just crazy. They disappear. They're not protesting. Members of the Civic United Forces Against Disappeared said the abductions seemed to mark a return to the worst days in the Mexican drug war. Like in 2011, when cartel gunmen in the neighboring state of Tamaulipas dragged innocent people off buses, forced them to fight each other to the death with sledgehammers. Goodness gracious. Then, as now, politicians, prosecutors given the families of the disappearing few answers. Not more than 10 years after the disappearance in 2010 and 11, they cannot continue to use the pretext. They'll usually the same in the same lines. the last they were supposed to have created institutions and procedures. The same old story. Authorities are doing nothing. Yeah, Mr. President of Mexico, when's the last time you've been to anywhere in America that you see somebody dragged off a bus, a bunch of people, and forced to fight to the death with sledgehammers? Never. And I'll tell you that's never happened. A lot of crazy stuff happens in America, but I guarantee you, America is safer than Mexico. I'll stand hands down that America is. Now, some cities, Chicago, where they have hundreds of people killed during the weekend, or something like that, that's craziness. But you don't go in those neighborhoods, you don't get shot, probably. Just a minute. If you're wondering, I make my coffee. About a tablespoon of butter, and heavy whipping cream, nothing else. And the reason why is, little break here, I'm on a carnivore diet. I've lost about 15 pounds, and I hadn't been on it but about 3 weeks. I'm trying to eat nothing but meat, eggs, fish, no plants at all. And it's highly recommended by doctors. A lot of doctors support this thing. It's a diet, lifestyle, whatever. Once I get to my weight I'm wanting to lose, which is 60 pounds, which I know it's a lot, but I'm headed that way. I'm going on keto, which allows you to eat a few little things that you're real restricted on this diet. And basically, right now, I'm fasting all the day, not because I'm fasting, but I'm just not hungry during the day. After I drink my coffee, I won't be hungry till in the afternoon. I might eat a little snack of bologna or hot dog or something during the middle of the day. And then after that at night, like last night, I ate a steak. Dana cooked a great steak. And that's all I ate. And not really. And I did get a little hungry. I noticed during the night I got a little hungry, but I just maybe going and drink me a glass of water or something. But anyway, getting away from that. We'll talk about that another time if you're interested. All right. I'll make sure I'm in the right zone here. Okay. Going back to this is crazy. Says United Forces of the Disappearance sent a press statement on May 19th warning people about the dangers of Monterrey, Mexico, and the Nueve, I wish I could pronounce that, Laredo Highway, even though by mid-May the group had received only about 10 reports of people disappearing there. More reports poured in June. Now it's about 50. That's crazy. 50 people out there. The government of that state acknowledged that 10 days later, it had received reports of 14 people had disappeared on the highway so far in 2021, along with 5 more in the neighboring states there. But Nuevo Leon didn't warn people against traveling the highway until almost a month later on June 23rd. That was too late for Gomez, and I guess it's Javier Cargo, a 36-year-old truck driver and father of 5, who disappeared along with 3 employees of the same trucking company on the 135-mile stretch of highway on June 3rd. They were driving in a car. They were driving Nuevo Laredo in a car. Up to now, we don't know anything about what happened to them. That would be the hardest thing. And if you had relatives that disappeared in Mexico, there's little or nothing you can do about it except go down there kind of renegade style and get yourself killed. Says here up to now they have anything. They don't know anything about what happened to them. He had like 5 kids. What's their family kids going to do? It wasn't until June 5, for a living that is, that the company called me to say Your husband has disappeared. As far as authorities, I ask, they say we don't know anything. Even if they acknowledge the abductions, the government suggested what was suggested that it was the other provinces, the other regions' problem. The governments are confusing information, first claiming they had rescued 17 people after abductions on the highway, and later acknowledged the victims had made it home on their own. That is crazy. It looked like the government, it just an idea, looked like the government would send some undercover guys out there. Put about 4 or 5 undercover police officers in a car, let them run out through there and see if they get attacked, and then they, whip out their Uzis and then they take care of the problem. But I don't know. Speaking of that, I made a comment on my Facebook page, my personal Facebook page. I don't have it online for just everybody. It's just between friends that I worked with mostly. And I posted about the cartels kidnapping and whatever, and I mentioned the fact that I thought the best thing to do would to take out basically the cartels, but I put it kind of a weird kind of way. I mentioned a cruise missile down somebody's chimney. Well, they banned me. They restricted my account for 21 days. So I said, look, I'll change it. I said, I only was talking about the cartels selling drugs and killing Americans and kidnapping people. Why don't we send them a special gift down the chimney? They restricted my account for 21 days. You believe that? Fascists, man. Okay, let's see here if I got all right. This is the highway. It runs. This shows work on the highway too, but this is basically the highway. It's from southern Texas. Um, no, it's not the highway. What am I doing here? That is not the highway. I apologize. But anyway, I'll see if I can't round up that and post it. But it goes to central from Texas to central Monterey down in there. 100. It's about a 3 hour, 135-mile drive down there. So it's not really bad. I mean, as far as that way. At least 50 people missing on traveling to Mexico's highway of death. This goes here. It says here, and it tells basically some bullet points on this. I wanted to read to you. 50 people missing on the Mexico's highway of death. Excuse me, a little drink here. Sorry, I can't drink cold coffee. It says here, after embarking on a 3-hour car trip, and you think, well, it's 135 miles an hour, 3 hours, but you got to figure on too Mexico's roads. I've saw a lot of videos where YouTubers have talked about being the Mexico roads is just very, very beat up. They're not well taken care of. All right, it says embarking on a car trip between the industrial area of Monterey and the border with the Nuevo Laredo, a stretch of road media calls the highway of death. About half a dozen men disappeared alive, and this was discussed about. They were beaten, saying only armed men forced them to stop on the highway and took their vehicles. What happened to the remaining is a mystery. About a half a dozen of those missing are believed to be U.S. citizens, as we talked about. The government said when Monterey is where Monterey is located, did not warn people against traveling the highway until June 23rd, receiving dozens of reports of travelers. The government is located, announced Friday that a joint program to increase policing and security on the highway, a step that it had been carried out a month earlier, might have saved dozens of lives, according to AP. Amelia, that's a member of the citizens group, and United Forces Against Disappearance, and said that it is getting like it was back in the back in the day of the cartel wars. I don't think it's, I mean, other than people killing people in the street, I remember that time. I remember that, uh, the cartel would just mow down people, hang people from bodies. They're still doing that. Little side note on this: these, excuse me, these, like Dicor and Blackwater and everything that worked over in Afghanistan and everything. They're civilian police. I had 3 or 4 buddies that worked in Afghanistan, Iraq, worked on the side, basically assisting, training law enforcement. They had a same program in Mexico, and a buddy of mine called me and said, "Hey, let's go down there and do that. It's You can train these people in drug enforcement, undercover techniques, a lot of stuff that we already knew and were trained in the United States on, and they pay very good money. You can stay in Mexico as long as you stay in Mexico a year. You don't have to pay taxes on it, and I mean, right across, we can stay right across the border from it." Well, my wife said, "No, nope, 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 no, 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 no," because of the dangers over there. The government does not. I mean, you get killed, and they saw. I don't know what that discipline. I mean, if you look at Ricky, uh, uh, Miraka, I think Mirara, I can't pronounce his name. Anyways, a DEA agent that was kidnapped off the street of Mexico, tortured and killed over there. I mean, Ricky, I'm sorry, I can't remember his name right now. I used to know it by heart, but just a very sad situation. I think they eventually found a underling that was involved, but not the real guys that are involved. Okay, last sip of coffee. Okay. Said the government's using the same lines that they've used for decades, basically saying they could do nothing. Only now the National Guard going out on patrol on the highways. Why they did not wait? They wait so long? I think public pressure probably is the big thing. The disappearances might have been prevented. Um, how can this be happening? We're supposed to have more law enforcement resources by now. Well, the reason why is probably a corruption. I'll be honest with you. A closer look here on the highway of death may be where missing Bentonville man was last seen. Now, I think this is an American that was missing. Um, shows here but a lot of them are from Mexico to start with. They're Hispanic. Monterey, this is the highway of death. It's 2011. Um, says here the FBI office in Little Rock requests information. He is 31 years old at the time of his disappearance. He was, of course, on that highway of death, supposedly. So, but this guy's missing, and as far as I know, as time I wrote this, um, has never been found. And you wonder why. I mean, here's the thing: if they're kidnapping them um, to hold for hostage or ransom, then these families would have seen something. I'm sorry, my screen had looked like it was something on it. Maybe this is a map. Nope, this is, I still get confused. It's a map, but why is it? Why is it? Let me read up here. Maybe tell me this is not the map that goes through Mexico. Drive. See, that just shows through Mexico. I don't know why. I guess. Oh, this just shows his journey up there until he got to that road here. The drive from Monterey to the U.S. border is about 125 miles, 200 kilometers. The border crossing most commonly used at Laredo, Nuevo Laredo, and the South Texas. Once across the border, you can drive to Bentonville, Arkansas, 790 miles. So he was going to, once he was going to cross the border, he was going to drive up there about 13 hours. March 29th date, this guy left Mexico, drew straight there and headed home. His total drive would have been 15 hours and with any stops. Now, I don't know what they were talking about there, but maybe this guy traveled out of Mexico and was disappeared here. That's just strange. I don't remember reading that. I thought it was disappeared down there. Um, let's see here if we got any more information on that. There's no updates at the time in the Little Rock, and it's still coordinating our legal attaché in Mexico City. We are pursuing all leads. So they did happen in Mexico. Some 36 people vanished between February and May 2018. One's bad enough. Witnesses collected by the UN Office of High Commission for Human Rights indicated that the federal security force detained many of the individuals, including at least 5 youth under the age of 18. Despite evidence that implicated the Mexican Navy, prosecutors delayed and hindered investigations in the cases. Witnesses reported threats, harassing after reporting the disappearance of to authorities in 2020 and Mexico National Human Rights. Well, that's even saying that the Mexican Navy guys could have been involved in that. That's pretty sad. That's pretty sad. And this shows basically they've got a picture up there, another missing guy down there. Commission released reports. 27 of the disappearance to the Navy. The report recommended that criminal investigations be opened up on those responsible. So disappearance to the Navy. So I don't understand exactly what they're saying. Maybe Navy people have involved. They believe that Navy people, the media dubs a drive from that is southern Texas border as a highway of death. Would you want your American city? There's a road in North Alabama they call the most dangerous road in Alabama. But it's because of traffic deaths. They've got, if you drive that road, it's not controlled. There's all kinds of turnarounds and everything, and people drive it too fast. And they tell you drive on this highway, you need to be careful, not of getting kidnapped, not of getting robbed, not of getting disappearing, but of having a serious accident. And they're trying to address it with stoplights and more traffic control and slowing everybody down. But I don't fear if my daughter were to drive there that she would be kidnapped off the roadway. I mean, it just does not happen. Not in America. Sorry, Mr. Mexican president. It's another article here. It said the government creates the laws to address the disappearance. I want them to do something. You know what I mean? In 2006, Mexican government estimated that 275,000 people have been killed and 71,678 have disappeared. That's inside Mexico. That's amazing. 275,000 people have been killed. The more of the 71,000 officials said. I'm telling you, folks, we need to take, let me say this, okay? We'll cover more of this on Thursday. I don't want to get into a lot of stuff we're going to cover on Thursday. We have got to get with Mexico's leadership over there, and we've got to say, one second. We've got to say, look, you're fentanyl's coming across the borders, killing 100,000 people a year or more, 120, 30,000. Uh, Cocaine comes across the border, marijuana, all this stuff. Now, a lot of cities, a lot of places in the United States are legalizing marijuana, so it does slow down a lot of their product. Brings down the price, I think, of that weed coming across. But you got the biggest thing is fentanyl. You got this other, and now there's a new drug I read about the other day is more dangerous than fentanyl. But what they would lace it, it's a horse tranquilizer. Basically, they would lace it fentanyl heroin. It's killing people, ODing people, people are ODing everywhere. And um, you've got to be able to go to the Mexican. Our government's got to be able to go to the Mexican president and say, "Hey, you do something to control these cartels. You take some enforcement action against enforcement action against them, or we are going to militarily take them out." And if I know it's like invading another country, but if right now, and that's why I don't know what we can do. But they're sending all this stuff over to kill us. Just think, right now, if something is happening, I've seen it before in Syria or whatever, they'll launch a cruise missile over there and take out what faction of terrorists. I believe these people that sell these drugs, fentanyl and stuff that kill people, they're in Mexico. I mean, these cartels, they are terrorists basically. They're more than drug lords. They're terrorists, and they are sending this stuff to the United States. So I say, take military action against them if you have to. I want to know your opinion about that. I mean, if you get with the government, Mexico government, and you say, look, you do something about it or we are, basically, that would be the thing. And, Mexico does not have a standing army, Navy, Air Force, anything, but, you can come out to the president, you say, look, we are prepared to do something about your problem because it's killing our citizens. You either do it or we are. You take military action. I'm telling you, one SEAL team could take care of this problem. I'm telling you. But that's my opinion. I mean, probably disagree with me. I know we don't get into another war. We wouldn't. They don't have the one day we could take over the whole. I mean, honestly, a couple of days, our military, if they had to, could take over the whole Mexican country. And I don't want to do that, nor I'm not advocating that. I'm simply saying that Mexico's got to get a handle on their issue, their problems. They're sending all this stuff over here to kill our kids. Now, to me, it's just like somebody packing up a thing and selling killing pills, cyanide pills to our citizens. And I know you're saying, well, if they wouldn't do drugs, they wouldn't have this problem. But unfortunately, it's not only drugs, it's kidnapping, it's slaves, it's human trafficking, and just like that highway of death. I believe that a lot of people will OD down here trying it for the first time, will try something thinking it's a pharmaceutical pill when it's really fentanyl and something mixed. And I'm just simply saying it's gone too far. We've got to do something. We've got to approach Mexico. We've got to say, look, if nothing else, do this. We'll cut your aid. We won't give you any more aid, foreign aid to Mexico, and it's a lot of money. And we'll close the borders, period. Nobody crosses either way on our borders. A lot of people work in the United States, traveling the United States to do stuff, and we put a darn border wall across that state. If not a border wall, do like they did before. They put so much concertina wire that you could not cross it. Until Mexico does something about the problem. They could do it. Mexico could do it. And if you cut foreign aid into billions and billions of dollars, you close the border completely. I mean, everything, boom, closed. We might have to do without avocados for 6 months or whatever. And then you stop everyone from coming across the border, period, everyone, then until this drug problem is solved. And then if you want to lax the border up, I guess you can, but there's cartel members, there are cartel families that don't need to exist anymore. My 2 cents. Tell me in the comments what you think. Listen, I hope to see you on Thursday night. We be on Thursday night for a live stream at 7 o'clock. We hope to get a lot of opinions on what we talked about. I'm sure that I will in the comments. If you're not a subscriber, we'd appreciate you subscribe to the channel. Click that little bell that lets you know when we got things coming out. And also hope to see you on Thursday night at 7 o'clock Central Time. Have a good day.